I believe in freedom.
Yeah.
Even if it's not the freedom I like. And that is the problem that people fail to understand, is that you can't pick and choose freedom. Freedom is ugly and it's dangerous. Yeah. And when people ask me what I do for a living, I tell them I'm a professional hole puncher. I teach people life preservation skills. It's not necessarily about the tool, it's about the mind. The mind is the weapon, the gun is the tool.
I'm Josiah.
And I'm Adam.
Today we have Alicia Garcia.
I like long walks to the gun range. I like 556-223. I identify as an ammosexual. And that bulge in my pants is not because I like you.
I will tolerate you.
How did you become the plaintiff of Garcia?
Garcia versus Polis.
Yeah, how did that come about?
2023?
2023.
Yeah.
So I have a really good friend. I have a really awesome friends in the gun community. One of my friends is Eric Blanford, Iraq veteran, 8088. Uh-huh. Right? Awesome. And all the eights, right?
Yeah.
So he has a range day every year at the end of September, early October in Georgia, where all the people come together and we just shoot guns and have a good time and check out new products. And so we knew that this bill had passed because, of course, all of us are involved at the Capitol fighting against it. And
Right.
Rocky Mountain gun owners at the time, they had a gentleman by the name of Kevin LaRusso there and a whole bunch of other people that were working Taylor Roads. And they said, how willing are you how far are you willing to go with this? And I was like, I'm a home run hitter. Whatever we need to do, I'm going to do it. Mm-hmm. He's like, well, would you consider this? And I'm like, where do I sign? Let's do this. Mm-hmm. He's like, are you sure? I was like, listen, I don't care. I was like, if I'm going to do this, you can't be a monkey in a tree. You're either in or you're out. Mm-hmm. Right? So I was like, let's go hard or go home. So October 1st, 2023 was the day the law came into effect. So I was actually in Georgia at a gun shoot. And I said, you know what? I can't stay. I'm going to fly home. Flew home. My boyfriend at the time picked me up from the airport, drove me to Triple J Armory. I purchased a Henry Big Boy 357-38 special lever action. And they said, hey, you know what? I know you paid your money. I know you passed the background check. And now this is technically your property, Miss Garcia. But we're going to keep it because Tom Sullivan feels that you probably want to hurt yourself or somebody else. And I said, well, you know what I'm going to say to that? Sign this paperwork right here and say, because a right delayed is a right denied. Yeah. We all know this. And you think about women that are like me, small in stature, single, no kids. Wherever I go, I don't have protection. I'm my own self-defense. I'm my own first responder. So what about the women out there that are even worse off than me, that are suffering from domestic violence abuse, that have somebody who wants to hurt them, or they're in a vulnerable situation, or they live in really bad neighborhoods? They deserve a right to stay alive. Yeah. Mm-hmm. The most urgent thing you're ever going to need is a gun. You can't say, hey, bad guy, don't rape me.
3 days.
Can you come back in 72 hours? Because you know what?
Yeah.
Tyranny and all.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So to me, it's like, no, we have to change the way that we're fighting. And if this is what they're going to push us to, then we're gonna push back. Yeah. So I said, yeah, let's go for it. And here we are.
So recently, 10th Circuit.
10th Circuit.
So what does that put your case in position to be reviewed again, or obviously we're waiting for is it
Judge Kane?
Yeah,
we're waiting for my judge to rule and respect the higher ruling of the 10th Circuit Court of Appeals. Mm-hmm. So shout out to my attorneys, Mountain States Legal Foundation. Shout out to Mountain States Legal Foundation. I love you guys. You guys have heart. They are brilliant people. They're also the attorneys with my friend Israel Del Toro and SB 25003, suing against that as well. So they're doing all of this pro bono. So please go and donate to Mountain States Legal Foundation. Give them your money because they're in it for the true fight. But they knew that we were getting nowhere here, right? So my judge is a Jimmy Carter appointee. And that's all I'm going to say about that because I don't want to say anything disrespectful. So he ruled in favor of, keeping the waiting period in effect. He denied our preliminary injunction. My attorney said, well, that's not good enough for this. They went to New Mexico, had a plaintiff out there in Ortega versus Grisham. They ruled against the 7-day waiting period in the 10th Circuit Court of Appeals, saying that the waiting periods are indeed unconstitutional. I love that one.
Yes.
So now, since that is Colorado's higher court,
Yeah.
they have to file the ruling of the higher court. So we are waiting for them to do that, and we're confident that we will get that ruling. So it's just a waiting game now.
Timeline? Hate to
This
say
year.
there is. Yeah.
This
okay.
year?
This
Yeah.
year.
Good.
And this is the problem, and this is what people need to
Yeah.
understand is I continually hear from the public, oh, that's unconstitutional, that won't stand. This is what? We're in February 2026 at the time of filming this. I signed that lawsuit on October 1st, 2023. This is exactly how they do this. It is a slow molasses uphill race.
Right.
So we have to get in front of it and not allow these bills to pass in the first place. Absolutely, they're unconstitutional. Every single gun law we have in Colorado is unconstitutional. It's not stopping them from passing that.
Right.
So we have to do something more than just say, oh, that's unconstitutional.
The interesting thing that I would say is that what they're pushing is zero data laws and bills that you can't say, hey, this is how many people this is affected. Like the 72-hour wait, you could say, yeah, everybody's been affected. It's
Every law-abiding
right?
citizen.
Right? It's been has been affected, right? But like you can't say, well, actually, this many, victims of domestic violence actually were harmed in this. Like it's not a crime stat, right? So if you look at like a lot of the stuff that they're putting together, it's stuff you can't actually back other than a lawsuit, which takes forever.
Right.
Forever. Like it's insane because we'll be at 2 years quickly,
Yeah.
right? Oh no. Yeah.
Yeah.
3 years.
3 years.
We'll be at 3 years.
Yeah.
Math is not my strong
Math
point.
is not my favorite thing either. I can count to 2, 2, 3, and 5, 5, 6.
There you go. One of the things that they keep introducing in each bill is the general safety, or the clause, or however they keep labeling that, and it's in everything. Like, and just so they can expedite the approval and then the enactment. So upon act, boom, it happens. Instead of like now we have to go through this process to get things done, and it's an abuse.
Of course it is.
And the barrel bill, the one that we're going to testify on tomorrow, on the 12th, right? Yeah. It's the safety. Like how many people have been beaten with a barrel? Like by itself. Like I don't know where's that stat? Like
Because the cartel is literally coming in the Salida Gunshop and saying, you know what?
I need a
I
barrel.
want that true precision anodized rainbow titanium for my Gleazy with the switch with that 9mm extendo.
yes.
You got that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Because I need that rainbow titanium.
Yeah.
Man.
What's up with that?
Yeah.
Right? Like, this is what happens when you have people that are speaking on something and litigating things that they have no information on it.
Yeah.
And I have offered to all of the legislator, and I've done it in open committee testimony. I've offered it privately. I've done everything that I can to say, you know what? Let's host a range day. Why don't you come out? You can come to my class for free.
I remember you
will
saying
take
that,
care
yeah.
of everything because you have a duty to the people, not yourself or to your own personal agenda. But this is the most egregious overstepping abuse of power that I've ever seen here in Colorado, is that people are in a position to represent the voices of the people, but they're not. They're representing the voices of Moms Demand Action and Bloomberg and Act
Money.
Blue,
Money.
who's lining their pockets
Just lots
in
of
this
money.
corruption.
There's
Oh,
lots of
Thank you
corruption.
for breaking the silence on that. That is
It's
what
corruption at its finest.
we're seeing it everywhere in the state. We're seeing it on a federal level. Everywhere there is corrupt, like money talks. Period.
People are not even flinching about the information that just came out that all of these people, I mean, when I'm saying all of them are egregious abusers of children, egregious abusers of power, egregious abusers of liberty. And yet people can't take their self away from the TV for 5 minutes to actually say, why are we not gathering at the White House? Why are we not gathering at the Pentagon? Why are we not gathering at all of these places and saying no more?
Yeah.
We're going to shut this place down until we get all of these people round up and held accountable for their crimes against humanity. People are dying. People are dying. Children are dying. And they want us to handcuff ourselves. So we can't protect those children. So we can't protect ourselves. Because they want what? More money? Because they want to have that feel-good legislature that makes them say, you know what, look what I did. You did nothing but handcuff the people from being able to defend themselves. And the question that I have, especially now with these new bills that they're passing, we saw all the security that they're asking for, right? For home-based FFLs. Saying, or all these FFLs in general, you need all these extra security measures.
Home-based, big big mom and pop stuff to big box stores. Yeah.
You need to secure all of these firearms, all these extra ways, pay for all this additional security, be able to provide all this information. Why are we not providing that security to our children in these schools?
It's something we've talked about forever.
Yeah.
Right? Like, these are the most precious things.
The most innocent
And
of all time.
we're trying to have people invest in gun shops instead of the actual
Protection of
these kids.
Yes.
We're seeing some cities trying to remove RSOs, trying to remove police from. It's like, what is going on here?
Campus has no security on it. Doors are open. They have no protocol for whatever it might be, and whether it's an active shooter or just violence, period. And everybody's starting to point the finger, like, well, you removed the safety officer. You removed somebody that could actually end that, and or just be a presence so that the kids know that they are safe, and those that are going to commit violence are going to be met with repercussions immediately.
Yes. So I have a radio show every Tuesday on 6:30 KHOW with my co-host Ryan Schuling. It's every 9 a.m. 2A Tuesday. Okay. And it's a live show. I can say whatever I want. And we talk about the Second Amendment because we need the airwaves, we need the written, we need the emails, we need it all, right, to get the message out there. And I had a listener write in and say, Alicia has no business teaching concealed carry. She is teaching people to not comply with law enforcement, to not follow the laws. She has no business teaching concealed carry. She doesn't know anything she's talking about. And my co-host shows me the message that comes in, and I said, ask it to me. Ask me on air. I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, this is dangerous freedom, folks. This
Break
is
it
not
down.
this is not the pretty side of it.
Yeah.
And I said, listen, let me ask you something. Are you willing to catch a case, or do you want to catch a casket? Me? I'm going to catch a case. Because I'm going to have my day in court. Because I'm going to be alive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to be alive because my life is more valuable than compromise. I don't believe in that word compromise, especially as a staunch 2A advocate, right? We've given too much compromise because now they think it's mandatory, which we've done it to ourselves, and we need to blame our own community for that. But at the same time, you don't get a day in court if you're dead.
No.
You don't get to create case law if you're dead. Every day when I wake up and I put my gun on my appendix and I do my dry fire and I check my mags and I, get ready to leave my house, that's an oath. That is an oath that I am taking. That I am saying I am now a protector and a defender of life by any means and all means necessary. This is my skill set, right? I'm peaceful, I'm not harmless. I'm a protector of life. I don't leave my home anticipating violence to say, hey, you know what, I'm going to hurt somebody. If I knew I was going to leave the house, I'm going to be met with violence, I'm not going anywhere.
I'm staying here.
Right? I like myself. I like my comforts.
Yeah.
At the same time, evil doesn't wait. Violence doesn't wait. And we're creating laws that are being rational on behaviors when irrational individuals commit acts of violence.
Right.
Yeah.
So now that I've taken this oath, I have to mean it. I have to mean it, and I have to be able to perform, which means I'm not going to have time to think. I have to act.
Yeah.
I'm not going to have to say, okay, hold on a second. No, I need to be able to to go to work.
Right.
So when I made that oath, and every day that I take that oath, I take it very seriously. And I want people to understand there's other people in this world like me. And what they're doing is they're protecting us from being able to protect them. And I've been told by the Moms Demand Action ladies, I don't need you to be my savior with your savior complex. So what are they doing begging the government for it?
Right.
You can't beg and choose, lady. You can't sit here and say, hey, daddy, rule me harder. Hey, you know what? Let's put handcuffs on the good guys, because if it were up to me, I'm going to save you anyway.
Yeah.
I'm going to do the right thing anyway.
Yeah.
I may not like you, but you know what? There's no parades for the John Hurleys of the world. No. There's no parades for the Stephen Willifords of the world.
No.
There's no parades for the Elijah Dickens of the world, right? But when we go to these hearings and we go to these public committee hearings, they want to name all the people that have died from quote unquote violence with guns. Why are we not celebrating the people that are alive today and celebrating the people that have saved lives because of the gun?
Right.
We have things wrong and backwards here nowadays, and we need to change that.
Is the government collecting enough stats on the violence that's been prevented with people with guns? With citizens. Like I thought there was a way to see that type of data, but it seems so missed. It's like it's available, but it's not there. Like
No. And the reason they're not is because it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. These organizations that were created in Colorado were based in the foundation of gun control, right? The Office of Gun Violence Prevention,
Yep.
the Firearms Injury Prevention Initiative. All of those people that are working in these organizations, and I've talked to them, and they're like, we're not bad guys. I'm pro-gun, but it always is followed by but. Right? I'm pro-gun, but, right?
Yeah.
So what they're doing is they are fulfilling their own prophecies. They're finding for their own hypotheses.
Right.
Because they're going to look for the data that's going to give them that confirmation bias. Their funding is also from organizations that are Act Blue, that are Moms Demand Action, Every Town for Gun Safety. Go look and pull the data of
Interesting.
these people, where they're getting the funding for this. Of course, federal money is funding it, but who do you think is backing these studies?
Right.
So let me ask you something. If you take the money, do you think they're going to be okay with you showing that actually, guns prevent violence more often than not? Because the truth is this: how many times does a gun get presented, and it's never fired because that was enough to de-escalate that situation? Because the minute that tool came out of concealment, somebody said, "Oh snap," and booked it.
Yeah.
And so a round was never fired. Are those people calling the police? I've been in violent situations where it didn't escalate. They don't even file anything. There's no
Right.
record keeping for that. So we're not working with anything that's helping the mission in the first place. They're only accounting for things after the fact.
Right.
And I believe John Lott is doing his best to create, more research and findings for real crime statistics.
Okay.
But we have to get to a point where we have more people that are doing this, because there's so many more educated and capable researchers out there that have the skill set, but they're also not doing it because they're afraid of losing their job.
Yeah.
Because if they're a clinician, they're told that they're going to lose their funding if they're not going along with the movement. They're not going along with the disarmament agenda. So they're risking losing their licensing.
You mentioned a group that came across my radar, the Act Blue. Holy cow.
Yeah.
The amount of money that they're pouring into Colorado
Yeah.
from outside sources is pretty substantial.
Yes.
Like very substantial.
Yes.
To the point where you look at some of these districts and you go, how did that person win that district? And then you look at the funding and you're like, holy cow, they're getting just
Greased.
skyrocketed to the front.
Greased all the way to the front.
Holy cow.
Well, we also have an issue with nobody's running against these people.
Yeah.
So people are stepping down in the middle of after they've been elected so they can appoint somebody else.
Have you seen?
Oh,
I
that's
know.
so cool.
Colorado's like number
Yeah.
one.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. And the corruption it's astounding. It's astounding to this point. So we're not working with people that are playing fair. They're not playing by the rules. I believe Joe Oltman posted the other day on his social media. He's also running for governor. a screenshot from the Democratic Party's webpage where they're encouraging people to go and register for other parties in order to sway elections so they can be involved in those elections and then go re-register back to their original party. So they're playing dirty, dirty games. And our side doesn't play that way.
No.
That's the difference is we conduct ourselves with honor and we expect other people to conduct themselves with honor. That's why, we're peaceful people, right?
Yeah.
And, when you hear these people say, oh, it's the guns. Listen, if we were the problem, you'd know it. There's the NSSF
100%.
said 500 million now privately owned firearms in America. That is a beautiful number.
It is.
If we were the problem, you'd know it. What is stopping the armed society from walking out of our homes one morning and committing mass genocide of people that disagree with us? Honor.
Yeah.
Honor.
Yeah.
Because we are not the violent crazies that they think we are.
No.
Because if that was the case, we'd be living in a Shangri-La of everybody like us.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But they want to demonize us and they want to make it seem like we're the bad guys. And that's why we have to come out of the gun closet.
Yeah.
That's why we have to start having conversations. I get told a lot not to wear shirts, especially from attorneys and things of that nature. Hey, that shirt is bad for you if you have to use your gun in self-defense and you have a shirt on it that is very pro-gun because you look like the agitator, right?
Right.
It gives the defense a one-up to say, hey, look, this is a crazy gun person. They're looking to commit an act of harm against somebody. We have treated gun ownership like it is so taboo that it has become taboo.
Yeah.
And we have to encourage people to be able to say, you know what? I didn't lose a thing in any boating accident. It's right here where it belongs.
Yep.
I like guns. Yes, I have a gun right here in this Denny's.
Yeah.
Yes, I have a gun in Whole Foods. Yes, I have a gun in church. Yes, I have a gun in TJ Maxx in the home goods area where all the candle sniffing is going down. And you know what? Everybody's better for it.
Yeah.
So if we normalize and humanize gun culture again, we can save generations, but we got a lot of work to do. But it's going to take people like us having platforms like this, having these difficult conversations and saying, you know what? I didn't lose anything. I absolutely am going to wear my ice cream 2011 t-shirt to the grocery store.
Yeah.
Yeah.
An armed society is a civil society.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. And I truly want to see more people embrace the Second Amendment however they seem fit.
Yeah, and that's the awesome part of it. It could be to the extreme of an EDC, and doing and having that oath that you have every morning, to the point where it's just somebody that's like, I'm an avid hunter, or you know what, I like to go to the range and shoot clays. I like to bird hunt. I like just I don't want to call them extremes, but it's a rainbow of what gun ownership really is.
Yeah.
And if we all just take a step back and look at it and like, yeah, I am a gun owner.
Yeah.
Period.
And normalize it. Normalize it. If it's okay in society for men with a beard as big as yours to be in a dress and high heels, why is my gun t-shirt so bad then?
Right.
If they can do it, I can do it. My uncle, who was my favorite uncle in the world, he literally had a beard and a mustache, and he wore makeup and carried a purse and wore platform shoes. So why is that acceptable, but my gun t-shirt isn't?
Right.
Or my American flag or my Gadsden flag? It's a challenge to have these conversations when they're like, oh, but it's because I disagree with you is what makes it wrong, right?
Right.
It's like, oh, you don't have to like me to tolerate me. And we're exercising tolerance, but we're not being given it in return.
Yeah.
The one thing I would kind of along this line is we have removed, and this is kind of where I'm at, is removing hunter safety out of schools.
Oh, I know.
And I think, to me, that's one of the most influential, safety things that's kind of out there, because you have very moldable minds,
Absolutely.
right, that are curious in life and otherwise. And to teach them at that point in time the safety and the power of that tool is so important that I feel like that would be unreal in regarding saving lives and or preventing things.
Absolutely. I get asked a lot by people, what's the right age to start teaching kids about guns? I'm like, well, you have to guess that for yourself. Is your kid, a little goofy, or is your kid actually someone that's going to listen to you? You know, you have to gauge that with your child. But for me, I was shooting guns at 6 years old with my dad. I was having a blast, literally, pun intended. And the beauty of children is they have neuroplasticity, which means they learn things at a exemplified rate rather than adults do. They are very, very eager. And when you're teaching children about gun safety, you're not just teaching them respect for the tool. You're teaching them so many other things. You're teaching them how to recognize danger.
Right.
You're teaching them confidence. You're teaching them problem-solving skills, figuring things out, how to understand the mechanics of something. You're teaching them hand-eye coordination. You're teaching them discipline. You're teaching them to trust you as that very important adult in their life to have difficult conversations with, that it doesn't have to be scary. It has to be respected.
Yeah.
And I had that relationship with my father. It's one of the greatest things that I've ever experienced. That relationship is what created all of this glory before you today, right? And so you think about that. If I wasn't exposed to those things, I would be missing my passion.
Yeah.
I'd be missing my calling. I'd be missing out on all the camaraderie and the brotherhood in the community.
Super tight community.
Yes,
Very
that you
small.
get on range when you're training next to somebody to have each other's back. That's a friendship, and that's a bond that's so priceless. There's people all around this country that I am very, very blessed to call friend. And the reason they're my friend is because we get on range, and I'm no longer a woman. I'm a teammate.
Yeah.
I'm a human. I'm somebody that they encourage to be better. They hold me accountable. Get that gun up. Get that gun in a fight. Yeah, you can do that. That was good, Alicia, but I know you could do better. Step it up.
Right.
Right? And we encourage each other. And imagine if we raised women to exercise boundaries and be able to be more self-reliant than teaching them that they have to have a rape whistle and they should expect to be a victim.
Right.
Imagine the world that we would have if we teach women to be able to have boundaries and to back it up. Holy snap. I would love that.
Right.
That's the world that I have hope for, and that's the world that I choose to believe in.
Kind of goes back to, before when we were talking about the destruction of the nuclear family, like the idea that why are we picking apart families and telling them how to raise their children and destroying the capability that a home that is filled with love and respect does for somebody that is, maybe going through a hard time, has that to fall back on, has that community, and then potentially has that self-love and understand, like, I am worth this. I am worth fighting for. I am something that somebody else is going to love and cherish.
Well, Colorado is 47th out of 50 in the nation for mental health resources. So we have a zero mental health resources, but we're also third in the nation for gun control laws.
Yeah.
We're also in the top 10, depending on the stats that you look at, we're in the top 5 of most violent states. We have carjackings out of hand. We're 6th in the nation for rape. So.
I didn't realize that.
Oh, yeah.
Holy
we
cow.
are. So guess what? Why are we tolerating these things and saying it's okay to be a victim, but it's not okay to arm yourself? And the reason they're doing this is because they want victims. They want people that are mentally ill. We have Munchausen by proxy right now of parents pushing their mental illnesses on their children. And unfortunately, these things that they're indoctrinating these kids with can't be reversed. They can't be undone. These are going to be forever abused and drilled into their mind, into their bodies, of these ideologies of victimhood and brokenness. And I can get very spiritual on it. I'm a very spiritual person. I do my best to exercise discretion on that because, of course, the Second Amendment is for everybody. And, I debate on that because I don't want to turn people away because I'm so faith-based and I truly do have a belief in life that comes from my great creator, which is God, my Father, Lord, and Jesus Christ. But at the same time, if you're an atheist, you still should carry a gun. Yeah. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? If you believe in Buddha, you should still understand that there's people out there that believe in worshiping the devil and that want to kill you.
Right. Evil.
So evil doesn't exercise discretion. Yep. So the reason that there is such an attack on the nuclear family is because of evil. I mean, I don't know any other way to put it, is because they want that evil creeping into the people's homes. They want the women so much in their masculine energy that they can't be feminine and can't be the caretakers of our children. Yeah. They want the masculine protectors away from the home so that predators can come in. Do you see? Like, this is a design. This is an absolute design to leave the most vulnerable, because they know by feminizing men, they're taking away the greatest protectors. Men protect women and children on a physical realm. Women protect children and men on a spiritual realm.
100%.
And
yes.
when you introduce over-sexualizing kids, when you introduce technology, when you introduce violence at a very young age, you're creating this decompartmentalization in the brain to have them have hypersensitivity, but also to have decompartmentalization where now their personalities are all screwed up. The number one way to create harmful abuse in any type of sleeper cells and any type of mental warfare is through sexual harm.
Yeah.
So what are we doing? We're grooming these kids to be broken inside. So now that they can be conditioned for further self-harm, which is driving them further away from not only self-love, but from spiritual wellness.
Yeah.
And that it's a greater fight than we realize. Most people are here seeing, Bloods versus Crips, aka Republicans versus Democrats. It's literally good versus evil.
It is evil.
Yeah. There is literally evil that we have to be preparing ourselves against. And it's a warfare in the food. It's a warfare of the mind. It's a warfare of the fabrics that we wear. It's in so many things that it's so important now more than ever that we have that sense of community and that we take care of each other and we have conversations and we have unity, because that is how we're going to get strong, and that's how we're going to stay strong. Because to all the listeners out there, and to you gentlemen as well, if we weren't so powerful and if we weren't so great, why would they be so concerned with attacking us? Why are they so fearful of us having the powers that we do? So remind yourselves that if you weren't as valuable as you are, it wouldn't be such an organized attack.
Yeah. From every aspect.
From every angle.
Yeah. Well put. Very well put.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
I think it goes all the way back to,
Yeah.
it goes all the way back to where you're saying is like, I don't want to waste my time and energy on somebody that doesn't. I look back at how Jesus Christ is there waiting in anticipation of your return.
Yes.
And you look at your aspect of being able to teach somebody how to protect themselves. You're sitting back waiting in anticipation for them to come and ask for help.
Absolutely.
And be with open arms and allow them to be saved, to allow themselves to have that self-love and rise above and create that community, starting with themselves.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And we have these resources, right? We have these beautiful resources because we're living from a field of experience. I live this life every day. I choose it every day and I love it. And I really encourage people to get out of their echo chamber. I really encourage people to get uncomfortable. Comfort is the killer of dreams. It really is. It's called growing pains. And I get a lot of students saying, well, I don't want to carry a gun because it's uncomfortable. Your mindset's wrong. Carrying a gun isn't comfortable. It's comforting.
Yeah.
So if you have to understand this is a dangerous freedom, you're taking a risk. With great risk is great reward. God favors the bold, right? And, I'm going to play the devil's advocate on this because we also do have a lot of politicians right now on our side, right? That everything is, oh, God willing, and oh, in the name of Jesus. God helps those that help themselves, people.
Right.
You can't sit back and say, well, if God wills it, you know what? God gives us all of these resources for us to go out and do this and put in the work. You have to be willing to get uncomfortable and do the work. God didn't sit in the church and preach and consider himself pious, right? He was in the streets with the miscreants of society, with the horrors and the lepers, right? And the homeless and the diseased. That's where the work is done.
Yep.
So it's like, come to me, bring me your weak, because I'm here to make you strong. Why are these politicians not asking us for our input on these laws?
Right.
Because if the true purpose of these laws was safety, why is there knife crime in Colorado?
I was wondering if you were going to bring that up, because what is that statistic at this
Oh,
point?
it's retarded. And yes, I say the word retarded. I'm
It's
from
a word.
the 80s. And,
Yeah.
You know, I say the word retarded.
Do you say rad?
I say rad. I do. I say all the old school 80s
Yes.
things. I still like, oh my
Legit.
gosh. So I'm driving down here, and my truck that I have has a CD player in it. I still hear myself saying tape. I'm like, oh, where you? I was always, you know, like, oh, I'm gonna make up my mixtape. Oh, and then I got pulled over by a cop on the way down here, of course, because I drive like a bat out of hell. And he's like, where are you going? And, I'm very transparent about who I am. I'm like, I'm going to Salida Gunshop. You should check us out on the internet. We're gonna do these interviews. We're gonna talk about guns. And I was like, we're gonna tape it. And I heard it come out of my mouth, and I was like, I'm getting up there in age, aren't I? Dang, my 80s.
Be sure to rewind.
My 80s is showing. Be kind. Rewind. Right?
Oh man.
But
Somebody played a video the other day. I have to say this. They played a video the other day. They handed their kid a VCR tape, and they were like, "Oh, this is a cassette tape." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, they don't know."
no clue.
Oh man.
But let's extrapolate on that, and that's exactly how they would feel about guns if the government has their way.
Yeah.
And if it continues the way it's going,
Yeah. And
Right?
because, how do you begin to eat an elephant? Right?
One bite.
And that's exactly what this is. They're not coming in and saying, we're going to just do a raid and sweep and confiscate your firearms. No, we're going to do it ever so gently that you hardly even notice it, in piece by piece by piece. So now this generation that is after us doesn't even know the freedoms that they're missing because they grew up without it.
Yeah.
And that's exactly the problem, is because they did that with privacy.
I have
Yeah.
a wild.
Right?
I actually have a wild. This was a realization many years ago, and it has become more apparent more recently. My brother still lives in California, and he's got a wife, child, and beautiful place. And it's very interesting because they have made gun ownership out there so taboo
Oh, yeah.
that there is only a city of millions. There's only a few FFLs, a few.
Coming to Colorado near you.
It creates it they create it so that it then just is not a thing, right? It's guns. What?
Yeah, we're going to be the seedless fruits of the world.
What was the statistic that Sean gave us last night about, was it 68% of the FFLs would potentially be lost in the state?
Yeah.
If 26 went in? Yeah.
68%.
That was the stat that he was pulling. And I was going to ask him, was that part of the big box stores saying we can't comply with this because every one of our employees has to go through the FDD process and they would be shut down? Or is that excluding that, looking at smaller shops that wouldn't be able to afford do you know?
Security.
Yeah. All the security and stuff.
I'm
So,
curious, just looking at a lot of this stuff from a big box store standpoint, how many of them are just going to be like, yeah, we're done selling guns in Colorado?
I think the alternative is going to happen. I think they're going to say, heck
They're
yes.
going to double down?
Heck yes. Why? Because now we're the only pushers in town.
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now we can charge the insane, heinous amount for that gun because guess what? You don't have any other choice.
Yeah.
to go anywhere else. You're going to see those COVID prices coming right around back.
Yeah.
Because they're going to say, hey, you know what? You want to buy these precious metals here? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's going to cost you the same as a used Honda.
Yeah.
That's actually an interesting thing that you state, because my brother asked me about a certain firearm. He said, hey, I went down to the store and I looked at this firearm, and he said they were charging this much. And it was like $300+ over MSRP. And I was like,
Because they can.
what? I was
'Cause they
like,
can.
holy cow.
It's another form of gun control. So let's think about it. So 1800s, right? The Republican Party says, I want to give political, socio, and economic equality to all people of color, which includes the right to bear arms. And the KKK says, we don't want that. We don't want, people to be able to have violence. We like the monopoly of violence. So let's get the Republican Party out of here by, unifying with the Democratic Party. And let's ratify these state constitutions throughout the South and create laws that prohibit people from being able to obtain these firearms. Let's raise the price of guns. So if you're going to be able to buy a gun, it's going to cost you $1,000 for each slave. Best of luck to you.
Yeah.
That's exactly what this is. And you have to understand as well, these big box shops, they have the leeway to do it.
Yeah.
They're not going to be missing anything. They can automate it. They can have AI come in and do the employee stuff, because they're still going to have markets in other states.
Yeah.
But what they can say is, you know what? We can drown out all of our competitors now. And if you want, the basic gun that should cost you $500, we're going to raise it to $900 now. And you're not going to be able to fight us on it, because with the laws that are now in place, especially SB 25003, you can't go out of state. You
Nope.
can't go to Wyoming unless you have residency in other states.
Yeah.
So guess what? Pay the piper.
You hear that conversation a lot, is that people are just, I'll just go out of state. And it's like, wait,
Yeah.
actually, that's...
Because is it 1126 that actually goes after distributors as well? So they would have to be regulated by the state at that point.
And they'd have to have a state, they'd have to have a licensure through the state of Colorado and able to distribute to Colorado businesses.
So they would adhere to all FDD rules.
So, again, the government is not anti-gun. Okay? That's the misconception. They're very pro-gun. They just don't want us having it.
Yeah.
That's why
Right?
there's always the little
Exemptions.
exemption.
Yeah.
So it's like, hey, raise your hand, legislators, if you want gun control. Okay? Raise your hands if you want to give up your guns.
Yeah.
They don't.
Drop them.
They don't. They all want to be protected by those tools. And what I don't understand is, why do they feel that their lives are more valuable than ours or our children?
Yeah.
Why is it that way?
And the many different... There's so many different slices of pie in Colorado. Colorado itself is vastly different, right? Trinidad, here, Western Slope, Northwestern, downtown Denver, Fort Collins, like all that stuff. All those places are so different, so different. Why do they get to decide who gets to protect themselves with what piece of equipment they want to?
Well, it's elitism, isn't it? Isn't it?
Yeah.
It's them saying we know what's best for you, rather than you being able to know what's best for you.
Right.
Because we're apparently too stupid to think for ourselves. I drove out here, so I came from Southeast Aurora. It took me 3 hours to get here one way. Don't you think a single woman on the road in rural Colorado deserves some form of equalizer or leverage to make sure that she comes home at night? Because would you make sure that you check your oil? Would you make sure you have air in your tires? Would you make sure you have gas in your tank? All these things are preparatory to make sure that you have safety, right? You're able to go from point A to point B peacefully without any problems. That's exactly what a gun does for me, right? It makes sure that I get home to my family. It makes sure that I'm able to, cook Christmas dinner for my family every year. It makes sure that I'm going to grow old.
Yeah.
So why don't I deserve that either? And we have a community that is so ignorant to what is going on that it makes me very sad. The apathy that is destroying our community. That I get calls from people all the time and they say, hey, I want to buy a gun, but I just realized we have a 3-day waiting period. I didn't realize that. Where have you been?
Yeah.
It's 2023 that went into effect.
Yeah.
It's 2026.
Right.
People aren't informed.
Yeah.
And why are people uninformed? What is the problem here? Because we have to find the solution. We have to change it that people now are activated.
Yeah.
And I use my concealed carry class as that platform to say, hey, you know what? When you leave my class, I now want you to be an active citizen. One of the test questions that I have on my exam is, who is your legislator? Who's your House Republican? Who's your House Democrat? Who is your senator where you live? What district do you live in? That's a question. Why?
Yeah.
Every day when I teach these classes, I say, raise your hand if you know who's going to be playing in the Super Bowl. Raise your hand if you know who this Hollywood star is. Okay? Raise your hand if you can name your House rep. All the hands go down.
Yeah.
Raise your hand if you can name your senator. Nobody can. And that's exactly why we're in this boat today, is because people don't even know the names of the people making the decisions that affect their livelihood, that affect their money, that affect their paychecks, that affect their health,
Yeah.
that affect their children, that affect their schools. You don't even know their names.
Yeah. So being activated, I think, is a really good way
It is.
to look at it. Yeah.
Because you can no longer stand on the sidelines.
Mm-hmm.
You can no longer live a life where you're not involved. If you're not involved, you're part of the problem.
Right.
No decision is a decision. I mean, how many? I think we have over 43,000 registered hunters in Colorado that are not voting. That are not registered voting.
It's actually
worse.
more.
Yeah.
Way more than that.
Yep.
That sickens me.
That
sickens me.
That number is crazy.
And if I may be a little controversial here, because, it wouldn't be me if I didn't. He'll remain nameless. I don't want to be that chick where I'm trying to call people out of their names. A person who's in the Republican Party, right? The Hispanic Republican Party, which I'm Hispanic, okay? I'm Alicia Garcia.
So sure you're not being racist right now?
Yeah. So
Okay.
let me bust out my racism. When he was speaking about this event that happened with this Preddy in Minnesota, he said he had no business protesting with a military-style firearm on his person with extra magazines, because that shows he had intent to harm. He did not need a military-grade weapon. He should only be carrying a Ruger LCP, aka the little crappy pistol, because that is sufficient for self-defense, because it's small, it's concealable, and that's all you need for concealed carry. And I about fell out of my chair when I read that, because that is exactly the mentality that is killing us.
Yeah.
We have FUDs that have no experience with firearms. They shouldn't be giving advice on firearms,
Right.
telling an entire community of people what firearms are.
Right.
That's like me telling you guys what it's like to walk around with a prostate.
100%.
Because I have so much experience with that. So I'm going to tell you what's best for you and your prostates.
Yeah.
With my lack of prostate. So when we have ignorance and we give ignorance a platform, we're condoning it. So it's not only just our responsibility to speak the truth, it's also our responsibility to hold these people accountable.
Yeah.
And people want to say you're being combative or you're being a hater or blah, blah, blah. Listen, we cannot allow this to be representative of this community anymore. We have to call out the hypocrisy. We have to hold the education to a higher level now. And no longer just be like, oh, they meant well. You know what? So did the devil.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So did all these other things. Oh, you meant well. How's that working for you?
It's the wording.
Yeah.
It's
Yes.
the word. It's the choice of words to describe things that make it military style, like now they're using it to describe pistols.
Yeah.
It's how they did it with the SB003, calling it an SSF.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
New
It's like,
designation coming up with
come on,
slang.
like you're just
Yeah.
creating these
Super fun firearm.
like just like Holy cow.
Sweet freaking firearm.
Yeah,
right?
just-
Got it.
Like, what? Like,
I want one of those.
they use these descriptors that to the general public, I guess non-firearm owning people, makes it seem evil.
Yeah.
And it's like,
That's why I
That's
don't
a-
use the word weapon in my class.
that's the freaking
We
one of the
removed
most
that.
sold
Yeah.
firearms.
Yeah. I've removed that word from my vocabulary. I encourage other people to do the same because bad guys carry weapons. I carry tools.
Yeah.
I carry life preservation tools. And I use the word pistol. I use the word handgun. I use the word pew pew. I use the word, bang bang. I
Yeah.
use, Sig Sauer. I say all of these wonderful things, but I never say weapon because I don't leave my house with intent to harm. I leave my house with intent to protect and defend.
Yeah.
And that is the narrative that we need to encourage. And that is why we need to also start calling people out. We got to get rid of the loose, the loose ends. We got to start getting rid of the weakest links in the chain and say, you know what? Not today, not anymore. We're going to raise this up and we're going to show the true meaning of being an armed protector. And that has class and that speaks with
Yeah.
intelligence and that behaves a very, very specific way. It's a higher level of conduct.
Yeah.
Every month I host a free training for all elderly for free. So absolutely complimentary because they're on disability, they're on Social Security, they don't have any money. Well, I had a woman literally show up to my class, 90 pounds, wet and wearing boots. Just hands like paper. She was even like in a diaper. And she was terrified because, she doesn't have anybody to take care of her. She's a widow now. Her neighborhood's being gentrified and she doesn't know what to do. And, she attended the class and I said, ma'am, usually, I'm very sexist. I absolutely treat ladies first. Ladies are always first on my line. Everybody can wait for you. I said, but here's the deal. I want you to wait last because I want to take my time with you.
Yeah.
So I waited till the range was completely cold. Everybody was gone. And I sat there with the range with her in complete quiet and silence. I mean, her hands were so frail, she couldn't even grip the gun and hold the gun. So I literally went around her and held the gun for her. And I was like, I can't give you a certificate, right? She's like, I know. I was like, but I'll work with you. I was like, and come back and we'll get this on and popping. I even got donated the Smith & Wesson EZ from Granby High Mountain Firearms because I'm like, I need more guns that are more basic guns donated to me because I'm doing everything for free. It would help keep my costs down. That way I can fit them properly to a firearm. They can understand how to fit themselves to a gun. We can work on the laser ammo trainer in my classroom to build confidence and skill set. And then when it's time for the actual bang, it's not so impactful on them and that confidence is there. So they have the stance, they have the way to position themselves. So it's less difficult for them. So yes, I do have an old lady that comes in and I actually teach a lot of old people. So yeah, I mean, I think there needs to be charity in this environment.
Yep.
I think there needs to be some form of outreach because the whole point is self-defense and safety. It's not about the gun. The gun is just the tool, right? It's the mindset and it's a lifestyle and it's also the nation. Like we live in the greatest, freest country in the world. This should be intrinsic to our lifestyles and people should understand the way of the gun to take away the mystery of it. And we have a duty to us, to our elders to keep them safe. So to me, it's like, I just do it because it's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
And they shouldn't have to worry about being able to defend themselves or have those resources because they can't afford it.
Yeah.
I think that's wrong. And I think that that's the whole root of gun control is the first place when they came up with all these barriers, the price of guns, rate, the barriers, the paying for this, the background check, the fees, all that stuff. It's a deterrent to people, especially if you're old, you don't have a way to work, you're on a fixed income.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate that we have to, at this time, understand that we're kind of helping the hand of tyranny by teaching their lessons.
Right.
It really bothers me that I have to now teach the curriculum that they've decided for me. It's like, no, the curriculum that I have created, I purposely have created because of the method to my madness, is how I tell people. I don't teach the NRA old school Weaver stance. I don't teach any of that stuff. I teach dangerous freedom. And I want people to understand, like, if a threat's in front of you, if you can't shoot that gun one-handed and you don't know your natural point of aim, you're already behind the 8 ball.
Yep.
So instead of sitting here and telling you, okay, stand like this and get in the Weaver stance and this, no, do you understand your natural point of aim? Can you drive that gun out and not move your head until you see it and break that shot and stay in full control of the firearm? That's where I start with things.
Yeah.
Is, okay, do you have the physical capabilities? Now let's work on getting you in the defensive mindset of understanding, like, How do you de-escalate? How are you aware of your surroundings? How do you use verbal judo? What are you looking like in public?
Yeah.
You know?
Are you looking like a victim or?
Well, the way I introduce people to freedom in my class is I talk about we live in a jungle. And I said, you are an animal. We live in the jungle. Our jungle is concrete, but we live in a jungle. And in the jungle, where's the most dangerous place in the jungle? It's the watering hole. And it's the watering hole because it's the place that predator and prey have to be and commingle together at the same time all the time.
Yeah.
The gazelle has to go to the same watering hole as the tiger that eats it.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, in our world, we don't have the discernment to be able to say, hey, look, there's a tiger there, or hey, there's a rapist, or hey, there's a chomo, right? We have a lot more capabilities when it comes to disguise and blending in as animals. But now we understand that the watering holes of the world are the most dangerous place where predator and prey are going to be all the time. What are our watering holes of the world? And how do you acclimate your life to understanding how to demonstrate by your behaviors that I'm an apex predator?
Yeah.
So to other apex predators, when you see me, pick somebody else because I am a whole problem.
Yeah.
You know, like I am a whole problem. You don't want to pick me.
Yeah.
So it's getting people understanding, like it's posturing, it's the way you're looking at people, it's making eye contact, it's having that stoic resting bitch face that says I see you but don't talk to me.
Right.
You know, it's that fine line, and
Yeah.
I've kind of mastered that very well.
One of the things on the subject of 003 and CPW standing this up and kind of going through that, I did get the email for being involved because I immediately, as soon as they started bringing that up in the first meeting with the FFLs and then the training, the questionnaire was like, how do you define firearm safety? And I thought it was odd that they asked that question, but also like, what is firearm safety? And like, I read him my answer, and I can't do it, verbatim right now, but it was literally like, I want to build a community that understands like the responsibility of what the consequences are when you do carry a firearm. And then, but I think you hit it on the head with the idea of like firearm safety begins with understanding like, what are your limitations?
Yeah.
Are you capable physically? And then preparing yourself mentally for the consequences of using the firearm. And it's like you have those moments where you have that one student that just does not understand the consequences, and you have to bring them to that point of like, you're going to pull this trigger, you're going to experience the explosion of the ammo, of the gun recoiling, and you're going to see what happens on the other side of it. And when they get past that, they kind of feel the weight of the world settle on their shoulders. But then also like, I can do this.
Not only can they do that, I think it's conditioning the mind to love yourself so much that you value yourself so much that you take every precaution in the world to stay alive and to preserve that life. So when people ask me what I do for a living, I tell them I'm a professional hole puncher. I teach people life preservation skills.
Yeah.
So life preservation skills, it's not necessarily about the tool, it's about the mind. The mind is the weapon, the gun is the tool. So if you're walking around every day, you have to understand that everybody else has a gun too then. So the fact that I have a gun really isn't going to save me. What's going to save me is how I position myself in my life to value myself enough to have that instance in my life that at any opportunity, I have to know what's best in order for me to get home tonight and be safe and go to sleep in my bed and grow old and die happy, healthy, old in my bed as a peaceful human being.
Yeah.
So I have a question for the hunters out there. You will spend thousands of dollars on your hunting rifle. You'll spend thousands of dollars on your optic. You'll spend 6 hours to drive to a hunting site. You'll track a bull elk for 6-7 miles. But yet you don't have time to register and cast your vote to protect gun rights? That's not a time problem. That's a priorities problem.
Anti-hunting, anti-gun bills don't pass because they're unstoppable. They pass because the people they target don't show up.
Colorado's primary is Tuesday, June 30th.
Show up Tuesday, November 3rd and cast your vote for Colorado's general election. Show up or shut up. But I love to say the term peaceful, not harmless.
I really like that.
Because that's how we move in this world, right? And I'm a hothead. I'm 4'11". I grew up in Colorado. I grew up in rural Colorado. During the week, I went to school in city and county Denver. I rode the rough, tough, and dangerous, aka the RTD, every day home from school. Okay, so I'm this puny little kid, square as can be, completely academic, and I gotta walk home from school every day. And of course, I got picked on. Of course, I'm different and I'm weird. I'm a book nerd and all of these things. And I had to learn very quickly to grow thick skin because what people think about me is literally none of my business. Honestly, it doesn't affect me, right? But what does affect me is if you intend me harm. There's a difference. Words don't matter unless I have a weapon and I'm going to kill you. Are the words right? Or hey, I intend you harm. That those become the words. Now I'm gonna care. But everything else is I love myself so much. There's no deficit that lives within me for you to even matter.
Right.
So now that I understand that and I love myself so much every day to carry a gun on myself because I want the highest form and the most effective form of defense. Now I'm changing my life and how I behave, how I treat people, how I speak to people. And it's actually made me such a more patient and kind and tolerant human being because as much as I don't like some people, I'm like, they don't deserve to die.
Yeah. When do you feel like you came to those terms for your life of being able to make that switch of like it really does not matter like what they think of me, but it matters of my self-preservation. Like when in your
moment?
Yeah.
The moment I can tell you exactly what it was. I went out. My cousins. I'm Chicano. Okay, I have 32 first cousins on my mom's side, and we're all here in Colorado, so
Nice.
we're a gang, right? So one night, me and all of my cousins, one of them, he's like so flaming gay. He's a hairdresser. He's all this guy, right? And then my two other girl cousins, we all go out to a club in Five Points that one of our friends owns. And I'm in white crushed velvet blazer. I have every intention of sitting somewhere and having service and drinking. I'm not going to compete with the crowd. So I'm being very dainty for the evening. And we're leaving, and some girl is trying to take the drink out of the bar. And I said, hey, you can't take the drink out. She's like, do you work here? I was like, I kind of do. Today's my day off. I just don't want you to get in trouble.
Right.
No harm, no foul. So it's time to leave. She comes out, follows me out, and she's just trying to pick a fight with me. Her and all her friends. She's pushing me, and I'm walking away. She keeps putting hands on me, and finally she punched me. And I was like, you know what? Screw it. And I just turned around and started wailing on the chick, and we start fighting. The next thing I know, I'm getting jumped by 8 girls. And it was to the point where it's like, now I just got to cover my head. My guy cousin shows up. He hops in. He covers me with his body. He picks me up. He gets me out of there. I go home. The next day, I have a face the size of a basketball. And I'm sitting there, and I'm looking at myself, and it's like, there's so many things that I could have done differently. There were so many things that I should have done differently. And I had to start thinking about the fact that even if I did things differently, would that have changed if somebody wanted to hurt me or not? Because I walked away. I de-escalated. I did everything to be nice, but the roadhouse, right? You be nice until it's time to not be nice. But there's no second chance on self-defense. There's no second chance to go back and say, I shoulda, woulda, coulda. Because the truth is, you don't always die.
Right.
You could just be handicapped for the rest of your life. You could just have a wheelchair or be blowing through a straw to move or lose an arm or your eyesight. There's so much more consequence to violence. And so I said, well, I need to be way more fluent in violence. And I stepped my game up. And I realized, you know what? There's no middle ground. You either are or you're not. You're either an apex predator or you're not. And to me, I don't like to be in the middle ground. I like to have a one-up. I like to be an outlier. So to me, I want every chance. So I said, you know what? It's time that I start changing and change the way I'm living my life, where I'm going, who I'm around, everything. And I've noticed that now that I carry a gun all the time, there's a lot of things I don't do that I used to do because I don't want the problem.
Right.
Isn't that interesting? I think that's interesting, honestly, because it's so true.
It is.
There's a lot of things like, I think, so I grew up in California.
Oh, I'm sorry.
He escaped.
And something that is really prevalent out there is road rage.
Oh, it's here too.
But like out there, it was to a point where you would just see people regularly outside of their vehicles and like doing stuff that you're just like, holy cow. And out here, at least where we are, not so much the case. You also see people road raging or attempting to road rage you, and it's just like, whatever.
Let it go.
Yeah, it's all good.
Yeah.
You can be in front of the 4 people.
Yeah.
I don't care.
You can race to that red light all
Yeah,
by yourself.
I'm
Go
good.
right ahead.
I'm good.
Road rage is interesting because that's where a lot of people lose their lives, man.
So where are you located right now? Like you just moved to
I just moved.
Aurora area?
I moved to Southeast Aurora,
Okay.
so I'm in a very bougie, suburbia, landscaped, mom and,
Nice.
Yeah.
soccer mom land. I
Cool.
love it.
Good.
Honestly. So I have a very unusual Colorado lifestyle. Okay. I'm a born and raised Coloradan. During the weekday, I went to school in the inner city in the west side of Denver in Barnum neighborhood. I went to Presentation of Our Lady Catholic, where I used to have to walk home every day. But on the weekends, I was in Trinidad, Colorado, or Honey, Colorado with my family. So all my father's family is in Trinidad. And I am such a daddy's girl. Like I am daddy's girl. So any excuse that I could be with my grandparents, I did. I grew up like an old lady. I'm having coffee with my pie after the meal. We're gonna just go ride through town. And it takes all of 15 minutes to ride through the whole
Yep.
town or garage selling. So you learn this.
Cherished moments.
It's a very peaceful life.
Yeah.
But it's also very rural. So we, the TV turned off at a certain time as a kid. It goes offline. So what did we do? We hung out with our family.
Yeah.
We hung out outside. So it was wonderful. Like, what are we going to do today? Ooh, let's go catch gardener snakes and, let's play in the dirt and let's, shoot clays with my dad or, do all kinds of stuff. And then you come to the city and it's just a completely paradigm shift that,
Yeah.
it's all about the road rage. It's all about who's wearing the coolest stuff.
Yeah.
And I had a very, very good upbringing that not only was I street smart, but I was also very book smart. I had a great education, but my dad was very much an outdoorsy man. And he taught me very, very early as a child, hey, he sat me down and he's like, listen, baby, daddy loves you more than anything, but daddy can't always be with you. So I need you to understand that you need to do certain things in order for daddy to be able to sleep at night. And, my dad never held any punches. He told me the truth about everything. If I wanted to know about drugs, he'd be like, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
You want to know about liquor? I'll tell you. You want to know what smoking's like? I'll tell you. You don't want to know about any of these things? I'll tell you the truth. And my mother was completely opposite. My mom was like, oh, everything's taboo. So, there was a lot of those conversations of, hey, here's a knife that looks like a lipstick. Don't tell your mom. Here's a knife that looks like a pen. Don't tell your mom. Hey, I'm going to tell your mom I'm going to take you to school in the morning, but literally we're going to go take this self-defense course and you're going to learn how to break people's collarbones. Kind of a thing. And,
Love it.
then we go home at the end of the day and my mom's like, hey, how was school? It's like, great.
Uh-huh.
I
It was
learned,
fantastic.
I learned how to beat people up today.
I got him hooked up here,
He's my
all
best
twisted
friend.
up.
I got you, buddy. I'm getting you, pal. I'm fixing you, buddy. Little Doug.
Break.
Awesome. Yeah, my dad was a cool ass dude. Too bad he's dead, but,
When did you lose him?
11 years ago.
Yeah.
11 years ago, and it was awful. My dad wasn't even dead in his house in a couple hours, and my uncle was already at his house stealing all the guns and jewelry out of the house.
Oh yeah.
And so it was that was a heartbreaking moment for me. I spent basically my life savings fighting for my dad's estate and to get our guns back, and no one did a thing.
Wow.
And it lit a raging fire under my ass.
How old are you when that happened?
It was 11 years ago, so and I was in my 30s. I'm 44 now. I can't count.
Yeah. I was say somewhere in your 30s you have this life altering drastic change.
Oh, yeah.
But you have overcome like so many things and have continued to step, I believe, in the right direction.
Well, thank you.
For
very kind.
self-preservation. The aspect that the reason I really wanted to be in this interview was almost solely based off of the fact that you were donating so much time to those that wanted to understand firearms and that firearms in the, I would say, industry, but in self-defense and understanding like the becoming that apex predator that you've said several times. And when I start, looking at and hearing you in different meetings with the CFFLA and like what you're doing for people, period.
Thank you. That means a lot to me.
It's huge, and we're trying to kind of create that, I don't want that community in our neck of the woods. Do you feel like there's a way that you're creating that type of community in your neck of the woods, or is it you're just trying to reach as many people as possible and unite them in the understanding of how to protect themselves and how their rights are being or how they can defend themselves? Like how would you define like your end goal other than giving people the ability to use the tool that is the firearm?
Honestly, to me, it's if I can save one life.
Yeah.
It's literally just one life. If I could save one life, hey,
That's not for you, buddy.
come over here. Come here, buddy.
Oh.
So, a long time ago, my best friend Tracy, we've been best friends since I was 19 years old. Sorry, I'm not trying to be all up in your ass here, buddy. There was this event that we went to. It's like self-help and stuff. And there's this poem that I learned about the little boy on the beach, right? There's a little boy, he's walking down the beach, and he's picking up all the sea stars and throwing them back in the ocean because they've washed up along shore and the tide's about to recede. So if they don't get taken in by the tide, they're going to die. And this old man sees him and he's like, what is this kid doing? He can't save every one of them, So he walks over to the kid and he's like, what are you doing, son? He's like, I'm throwing these sea stars back in the ocean so they don't die. He says, little boy, there's miles of beachfront. Mm-hmm. It's getting dark soon. You're never going to be able to save all of them. Might as well just go home before it gets dark. And the little boy looks at him and smiles. And with the innocence of a child, reached down, picked up one, chucked it back in the ocean. And he says, made a difference in that one. And there's this quote that's on the highway, or it's on Auraria Parkway in front of the college, where it says, we didn't borrow this land, or we didn't inherit this land from our ancestors. We borrowed it from our children. And that is absolutely the truth. And when I think about the beautiful childhood that I had and the times that I spent on range with my dad and shooting, and those are some of the most cherished memories of my life. And understanding how precious and rare I am and how special I am and how unique that I am, that's something I see is so vacant in the society that we live in now, because everybody's looking outward for validation rather than looking inward, because they don't have that self-love. They don't have that human connection. They don't have that intimacy in relationships that taught them to be priceless and valuable. And so to me, that's exactly why I do this, is because truly self-defense is the highest form of self-love.
Yeah.
If you say, hey, you know what, I'm going to make sure that no matter what happens, I'm going to get home today. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to do all the things necessary to make that happen.
Yeah.
That is what I want. That's the difference that I want to make in people. I want them to understand that you are so beautiful and you're so rare. You should love yourself so much that you take every precaution in this world to stay alive.
Yeah.
Period.
It's very, very good and well stated as far as the level of creating the community that you want. You have to start with yourself.
Absolutely. Well, that's how change happens, right? That's how change. Let me get my little puppy. That's
you're with him too. If that's better.
It's okay. Whatever. I just don't want him to like mark on it or something.
You don't know his.
He still has his.
Would not be the first time.
He's still intact, and I don't know what I've only had him a week, so I don't want to be like he's gonna,
Get your butt over here, little guy. Look, I got you a choo-choo. Look, there's a choo-choo for you. Okay.
So my sister's like the polar opposite of me. We don't talk. We don't have any relationship whatsoever. And she's like a professional victim, right? And you see that in situational awareness. You see when you walk down the street, if you're not thinking like the criminal, you're already doing it wrong.
Yeah.
When I go places, I ask myself, okay, who's the sucker here? Who's the mark in this group of people? Because of course, if you can't spot them, it's you.
Yeah.
So they're, the telltale signs of someone who doesn't love themselves, they don't make eye contact, how they carry themselves, they're hunched over. You always know those people that are always finding the wrong relationships. They're finding the abusive people. You know, they're always in these conundrums of their life, and then they ask themselves, well, I don't know why I always attract these awful people. Well, it's because you're so vacant inside that
Yeah.
evilness sees that, and they're like, ooh, I can overpower you, not only mentally but physically, emotionally, all of these things. So it's combating not only the victim mindset but a victim lifestyle, because society is literally catering to that mindset everywhere we look. Everybody is socializing now by, let's see how much mental illness we have. Let's what is our struggle? Oh, we're gonna adopt this other struggle today.
Yeah.
It's like, how about you take some accountability and have some empowerment and say, hey, you know what? Not today. I'm going to take ownership of these situations and start pointing the finger back at myself and saying, what did I do to contribute to this? Well, how can I change this? How can I be a part of the change rather than just being a part of the problem?
How do you see the benefit, or is there a benefit to reaching out to people that are in that situation, or potentially are kind of in that circle of always victimhood, or that victim loop?
Yeah.
Do you think it's beneficial or have you figured out a way to reach out to those types of people?
I used to try.
Yeah.
And I don't really like the word TRY. I don't like to use that word because it's a failure word. You know, anytime someone says the word try, it's followed by but. And I mean that in the very sense of in the text right now is I have tried and I have failed. And the reason I have failed is because there's no point in having conversations with people that don't want to hear you. And I've asked myself, okay, if I only have this finite amount of energy, am I going to pour it into an empty cup with the bottom that's cut out? Or am I going to find the people that are actually open to having these conversations, that understand that we can have adult conversations and have a debate without it being conflicting or being angry or hateful to each other, and be able to say, you know what, we have different walks of lives. You feel this way, I feel this way, but you know what, when we walk away from this conversation, we still have honor. And maybe I'll be a better person because of it, and you'll be a better person because of it, because we're learning something different.
Right.
So that's where I choose to focus my energy. And I want people to see things from my perspective. Of course, we all do. We all have bias. At the same time, my way isn't the only way. Their way isn't the only way. And if we start having more difficult conversations, and if we start having questionable, engagements with other people that are still honorable, but without it always being an echo chamber.
Right.
Going to places that we're going to meet people that aren't like us, stepping outside of that paradigm, you'll realize that you have a lot more in common than you realized.
Yeah.
It's a conversation I think we've had a lot here, is that everybody kind of needs to come back to the table.
Yeah.
Right? Got to come back to the table, sit down, have those conversations, tough conversations.
Well, I'm a hippie. I don't click any boxes. I don't. I was raised by my uncle, who was 11 years my senior, who was one of the closest relationships in my life, but he was the gayest man on earth. He was more flaming than a room full of candles.
Yeah.
He wore a purse and makeup and had a beard and wore platform shoes. I loved him dearly. We had the best fun.
Yeah.
I grew up outside in rural Colorado. Then I grew up in the city and county of Denver. I'm puro Chicana. I'm, all about my heritage, but I'm as American as it gets.
Yeah.
So it's like, I'm a hippie. I want to, save the trees. I want to save the rainforest. I don't like wasting water.
Right.
I care about things of that nature, but at the same time, I also think guns are a civil right and a human right. It's not a political affiliation.
Right.
It's a human right. It's a God-given right.
Yep.
And when you tell people, hey, I'm that notorious gun girl in Colorado, they're like, oh, you're a racist, MAGA, fascist. And it's like, dude, you have no idea who I am. You have no
Right.
idea what I like.
Yeah.
But
sorry, you can't label me.
Exactly. But it's like, why can't we all coexist peacefully? And the whole point of the Second Amendment is, I don't have to like you to leave you alone.
Right.
You don't have to like me to leave me alone. The whole point of the tool is for me to be able to say, hey, you know what? You can't impose your will on me. You're not going to force me to do anything I don't want to do. And, step off politely, but peace out, and,
Yep.
deuces.
This conversation wasn't about guns. It was about responsibility, self-preservation, and the mindset that comes before any tool. Alicia Garcia, better known as Boomstick Babe, teaches life preservation skills grounded in awareness, discipline, and respect for life. Follow her work to understand what responsible self-defense actually looks like, and follow us for more conversations that matter. We'll see you next time.